welcome back. Tisha here, back with another Sister Wives Season 16 review. In watching this episode, it has been made abundantly clear to me that Kody punished his wives and his kids for not falling in line. You walk up to your kids, you see them outside doing chores. You haven't seen them for several weeks or days or whatever amount of time at this period, and you don't even greet them with a smile or tell them, hey guys, I missed you, or anything like that. I find that to be odd. Robin continues to manipulate this situation in more ways than one. Okay, I want to get on her for a second, and I'm jumping around here, but let's get to the end of this episode, right? Or the middle part of this episode when Janelle goes to visit and she presents Robin with this birthday gift, right? Did we miss the part where the bird, where Robin, where Sobham, where Gobham? Did we miss the part where, I don't know, she took a can of Lysol and sprayed Janelle's gift, or she grabbed a wipe and wiped it down, or where she allowed it to sit out there for 24 hours? Because hold on. I thought that sanitizer is everything. And I thought they used it on everything. And I thought that she was the perfect wife that had been following all these rules for 9+ months. Isn't that what she said during the meeting? Yet here, if it's been 9 months of you following these rules, I would think that at this point that it would be second nature for you to know not to open up that thing until it's aired out. If she was so eager to jump into the package, why didn't she just ask Janelle to open it and allow it to sit out there and air out for 24 hours? It's because she's a lie. The lie detector test determined that is a lie. Okay, I'm completely jumping around. I'm not on my notes. This is going to be a problem because I think I said something about it in my notes. So if you hear it again, just bear with me. Okay, back to this. Kody continues to say one thing while doing another. Mary, my goodness, Mary. If you've been here long enough, you know that I go back and forth on how I feel about Mary, to the point where there are days where I legitimately am concerned for her. I want her to get out. I feel sorry for her. I found myself crying for her before in the past based on how hurt she was, or the way Kody played in her face, on her loneliness, on her isolation. But then there are episodes like the one that I just watched today, where I'm reminded of how Mary gets on my nerves. Where I'm reminded of how much of a pick-me she is. And at this point, I struggle because you've observed how he's treated you. You've observed how he's treated these other wives and their kids. These women at this point, at varying levels, are starting to see how selfish Kody is being. But Mary, who's been going through isolation at this point, not just since the pandemic, but since she got on our screens and the bird came into the picture, you still don't understand where these people are coming from. Because she's so desperate for this man to be back in her life because of what her religion has taught her, that she is willing to take any bit of him that he gives. If Kody were to get the virus and Robin didn't have it, Robin would be sitting at home chilling, and Mary would be risking it all to make sure that she's taking care of him. That's the type of situation that this is. Mary clearly loves, and I feel like has always loved, Kody more than he loves her. But go ahead, do me a favor and hit the like button as we get back into this. So Janelle says, that her boy's view of Kody is different. That prior to the pandemic, that he had a smooth relationship with her kids, which is one of the reasons why when Christine was complaining in previous years, Janelle couldn't relate to that because that wasn't what Janelle experienced. And if I'm being honest, even though I like Janelle was being selfish in that moment because it wasn't her struggle, so she wasn't concerned about it. So now when he does come over, he is only there when they're outside, and that as a result of the whole dynamic that they used to have has hurt their relationship. She says Kody passed out a list of rules that supposedly, her words, Robin and the nanny follow. The fact that she used supposedly let me know that she doesn't believe this because she says it more than once, or at least they show us that clip of her saying it more than once. We get a flashback of the conversation at Mary's home a week earlier where the rules were presented. Kody arrives at Janelle's to talk, and he makes himself useful by cutting down trees. I didn't see him interact with the kids like, hey, missed y'all, anything like that. I don't know if it's because he was upset or if it's because it's something that TLC cut out, but I would think that they would show him greeting his kids. I didn't see that, which makes me question, like, what type of situation is this that you can't even greet your kids, okay? He starts cutting down trees. He's not there long before Janelle sends Gabe Garrison inside. I think Savannah was out there too. I can't remember if she was there at that point, but she sends the kids inside so that they can talk. She wants to make sure that they're okay. They spoke a week ago. I personally do not feel like she needs to apologize to him or to make sure they're okay. But I don't understand why you're just now having this conversation a week later rather than shortly after you left and decompressed. She apologizes to Kody for the way that she reacted to his rules the previous week. I didn't think she did anything wrong. I liked her sarcasm. I liked her snarkiness. I liked the fact that she was saying what a lot of us were saying. Janelle tells him that she felt like she could have handled herself better, but she freaked out, that she already does follow a lot of the rules, but some of them just seem like a lot, like wiping down groceries and leaving the mail outside for 24 hours. It's a bit much. She says it's what you and Robin embrace, and he quickly corrects her because Robin has pep talked him long enough to let him know, don't let those wives keep blaming this on me. You got to make sure that you make this a you thing and not a me thing. So he quickly corrects her and says, it's what I see fitting, and it's what Robin is compliant to do. Yeah, right. He says, it's easy for the bird because she sees value in protecting our family. Janelle says value. She sees value. He throws that value statement at me all the time. It's great that she does what he thinks, but it's easy for her because all of her kids are at home. She doesn't have to make hard decisions. And it's true because unlike the bird, Janelle has adult children and her life is different. She's frustrated because she feels like in this whole pandemic situation and the way things are that she can't breathe, that the pandemic is a lot. She tells Kody that she struggled with her mental health during all of this. And the bald eagle is like, don't you think you would feel better if I could come home? If Garrison and Gabe would cease their social lives? She's like, look, Garrison is really close to buying his house. In about 3 months, he's going to have enough money saved up to have his down payment. I think that goes to show how disciplined Garrison was and the way that he did things, because how many 20-somethings, and I think Garrison might have been 21 or 22 at this point, how many 20-somethings do you know that would have been in that position where they were prepared to put a down payment on a home? It's a big deal. Garrison, she says, is not as social as Kody thinks. She tells us that Garrison is the reason that Kody is staying away right now. So first it was because she went to go on vacation. by going to see Maddie. Then it was because Hunter was there. Then it was because the boys were out too much. Then it was because of Gabe's social life. And now it's because of Garrison. Let's be clear. I do not agree with a lot of the things that the boys were saying, with a lot of the, oh, well, maybe we just need to hurry up and get it so that he could come around and things of that nature. There are some things that I do feel like they should be willing to do in order to make sure that they can spend time with their family if these were the stipulations that the family had made. But I also feel like it doesn't seem like anything that they would have done rather than complete isolation would have satisfied Kody. I think that, like Janelle said in a previous episode, that either way, he would have had a problem or an issue with something. She says she is not about to kick her child out, especially when he's this close to his goal. And Kody does not care. Kody doesn't even acknowledge the fact that he's buying the house. Kody just feels like this is something that he should be doing anyway, but Kody couldn't even do it himself. Every house that Kody got was because of those ladies. The first house he ever lived in was because of Janelle, because it was her house. So the fact that he's sitting here acting like he doesn't get it, acting like he doesn't understand how great of an accomplishment that is, just shows how uninvolved he is in his kids' lives. So Kody doesn't care about him buying a house. What he cares about instead is his kids making the sacrifices that he has to make. Bald Eagle says that he has to be like this because of the little kids. I've got four. I got a 4-year-old who needs a dad until she's 21. Why does he always talk about Ariella like she's a porcelain doll? I have a 4-year-old that needs a dad until she's 21. Excuse me, all your children need a father. And that's where Kody gets it twisted, because for whatever reason, he feels like the only ones that he has to parent are the little ones. Once those kids reach an age where they can formulate their own opinions, where they don't fall in line the way he expects them to, where they actually don't need him, he struggles. His ego can't handle it. Because as far as I'm concerned, and you all tell me what you think, you don't stop parenting a child just because they're 18 or just because they're 21 or just because they're moved out of your house. Yes, the dynamic changes. Yeah, maybe I'm not going to be as suggestive. Maybe I'm going to wait for you to come to me with certain things and then offer my advice or my opinion about it. But I'm not ever going to stop being your parent. Ari represents the entire family, he says. I get what he was trying to say, but I don't get what he was trying to say. Because why does this one child represent the entire family? He's fussing a little bit as he's talking to her. And Janelle wants him to calm down. She's like, look, I'm just sitting here trying to apologize. And he's over here getting all fussy. Kody says his feelings are hurt. But I don't think it's his feelings. I think it's his ego. He feels like they don't care if he comes home or not. They don't care to spend time with him. And they obviously care to spend time with you because they're complaining about it. But then part of me is like, okay, I got to play devil's advocate here. How much time do they really want to spend with him if they're not willing to make the sacrifice sometimes? If there aren't 2 weeks here or 2 weeks there where you don't interact with certain people so you can make sure your dad can come over. It goes both ways. I don't like Kody. I don't like what he's did. I think that it's your kids. But at the same point, it's like, he told you where he stands on it. Move accordingly or not. He says he has tried to set rules and live by them, but the boys don't care. Kody thinks that Janelle should just kick the boys out. He says that when he was Gabe's age, he kept himself occupied with things like mission trips, not girls. That's probably though because girls didn't want him. Kody is annoying. We already saw what his classmates from high school said about him. She then suggests something that I myself would never agree to. Janelle suggests that the girlfriend come and move in with them for a couple of weeks so that she can celebrate the holidays with them. Kody doesn't agree to that, though. I personally don't agree to it either. He says his religious beliefs don't allow that. And he seems bothered by the fact that Janelle would even think about saying anything like that. I mean, I would be too. Like, and for me, it's not even religious reasons. It's like, you're not about to sit here and shack up in my house, especially when you're a kid. It's just not, no. He tells us blah 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 blah, vomit, more bullish, vomit, more bullish, talking about Janelle. Janelle tells Kody that he's complaining about the things that he's doing, but Garrison is lonely, that his friends have all moved away, and that she's starting to worry about him because of it. Oh, gosh. Your wife tells you that your son is lonely, that he seems down. And Kody's response to her saying he's lonely and down is, oh, so that's why now all of a sudden he wants me around. This man, like, he is trash. I try, and I'm going to try real hard in this current season not to dig into Kody too much when it comes to this Garrison thing, because I do not believe that he is to blame for what happened, but I do believe that there are many things that piled up that led to it, and I do feel like the isolation and the loneliness that he probably was feeling internally was a part of that struggle. So hearing how he disregarded it, it kind of bothered me. He claims that he doesn't want to alienate his children, but he's tired of their criticism of his standards because he sacrificed so much. He's always the only person sacrificing. Nobody else apparently sacrifices the sacrifices I've made to love you. It's always him sacrificing. He's tried to live by example, but it looks like nobody really cares. He says the whole freaking family has just thrown their beliefs out the window. He's sick of his children judging him for his standards and not appreciating the sacrifices he's making. He says sacrifices a lot during this episode. He's mad Janelle is not uniting with him on the issue. He doesn't like it that she's continuing to choose the boys over him. And Janelle's like, look, I can't leave my boys out here. I can't kick them out. And he says, they're adults. Bye-bye. Are you saying they're adults? Bye-bye to Dayton? No, you said Dayton's an adult. Let's all go bye-bye and move to Flagstaff because this is what my favorite wife wants. He tells us, I've tolerated this situation with Janelle and her kids for a long time. Her kids. Why does he talk about the kids that way when he doesn't like something that they're doing? They're your kids. I've talked about this situation with Janelle and our children. Why is it always her? He said, I was patient for a long time until I realized I was being lied to and deceived. So now my patience is gone. From my understanding, him feeling the way he felt about Garrison, I believe Tulips and Cats had said that it had something to do with a picture that he posted on Instagram where he had taken a hike with a friend or friends. And because of that, Kody started questioning, like, was he doing more than just this? I feel like it's interesting that he's not allowed to take a hike with a friend, but Kody's allowed to go from house to house to house doing what he's doing. And I don't always feel like he's adhering to the guidelines despite what he says. He's an adult. He has to deal with adult things. He says, when you're 21, karmically, I've given you all you need. You got a good car. You got a good job. Here's some cash. Bye. He has not done that with Robin's kids. His opinion on what age you should leave out of that house changes upon whether or not you obey him, because that's not what he said before. His thing wasn't that before. His thing wasn't kick out, kick out, kick out. As soon as you're of age, kick out. But now you feel like they should be kicked out when that's not what you did with the other kids. He tells us he's on the verge of kicking the boys out, but he can't because he has one problem, and that problem is Janelle, because Janelle's name is on the lease, which makes me wonder if Kody's is. He wants to evict them. He said when he was 18, he got kicked out. He got a car that he earned. And as I heard him talking about what he earned, I found myself contemplating and wondering what these kids earned. Because haven't these kids earned something too? Because a lot of what you've got, a lot of the money that you received is off of the backs of your kids. It's off of your children being filmed for all these years for being exploited by his father or their father and TLC, for them showing their emotions and vulnerable moments and all these other things, throwing cameras in their faces, and they're not even being properly compensated for it. So don't sit there and act like you've done him a favor by parenting him. Don't do it. She says she'll talk to them, but she's tired of having this conversation because they're talking in circles. And they are. They've been talking in circles this season and last. So he leaves. In my opinion, they should have talked to the kids together. Kody needs to man up. Talk to his kids about where he stands instead of having his wives do it. Because he says something along the lines to, I need y'all to talk to the kids, to Christine later on. It makes absolutely no sense to me that you are standing outside having this conversation about these kids and you want messages to be relayed when you could simply have those kids come back outside and return to the yard and have a conversation with Janelle and with the boys while they're right there, so there is no confusion. Be a man and talk to them instead of being a little child and being jealous of them and being rude to them and icing them out. I feel like Kody's jealous. Y'all can tell me what you think, in my opinion, because he can't run around like he wants to because of the bird, number one. Number two, because Janelle is putting her children before him. Janelle cares about those kids more than she cares about him. And I feel like he also feels away because his adult children are finally beginning to see who he is. Tell me your opinion. So Gabe, Garrison, and Savannah are back outside in the yard to talk about their father's rules, even though he just left and they could have talked about it with him. Gabe says he has no intention on following them. They talk about the expectations of the rules and what they have to do to make this work. Janelle says that she can't guarantee that Kody will ease up even if they do it, but they got to try. Garrison suggests that they all lie to the bald eagle about following his rules. Janelle says, Janelle and Savannah say it's not right to lie, which it isn't. Garrison says, look, Dad wants to play stupid games. We can play along too. I don't really like this whole interaction just because it just seems like a bunch of people who are being stubborn and who aren't meeting in the middle and actually compromising. And I feel like they could have done this at a different angle and approached this differently. But because everybody is so strongly opinionated, they're not looking at the way each other feels. Instead, it's just about what they feel and what they want to do. So the boys tell Janelle that they're sick of not seeing their dad, that it's been 8 months. And I said, this is about more than the rules. For them, this is about them no longer having a relationship with their father that became strained as early on as them moving to Flagstaff. I was about to say Vegas, but in the beginning with Vegas, he still was going there, playing wrestling and stuff like that. So I'm going to say Flagstaff. Kody tells us that this simply isn't true, that he has been there. They feel like their father is acting childish and admit that they're being childish too. They just basically feel emotionally rejected. They do. They feel like, okay, they're emotional. Okay, they're emotional about it, and they also feel rejected because they don't see the bald eagle a lot. In his confession, Kody says he's actually been at those places like every month. He says it with a straight face. I've actually been there every month. There's at least 30 days, 28 some, 29 some, 31 some. We'll say you got 30 days and you've been there like every month. What does like every month mean? That tells me you haven't been around. Gabe is not willing to make any sacrifices to spend the holiday with the family because he's mad at his dad and he feels like, his words, this is stupid. Savannah wants them to stop doing this and to consider how hard this is on her and their mom, which is true. Because the guys and her father won't budge. It's been rough. Garrison says the two of them will just get a hotel for Thanksgiving. Janelle doesn't want that. Garrison's like, how about the fact that, wait, was it Garrison or Gabe? I think it was Gabe. One of them said, how about the fact that, he's just been at Robin's for 9 months? And Janelle's like, my boys are noticing that their father isn't around, but, Robin is, has little ones and she's following his rules and I just don't track him. And when she said it, Janelle, I want you to acknowledge your kids a little bit in this moment because you know that man hasn't been there. Christine says, look, I can't speak about Janelle, but I'll tell you, he hasn't been over here that much. Kody's probably been over a handful of times in that 9-month period. Interesting how it's okay for him to go long periods of time without seeing those other kids, but he cannot go longer than 2 weeks without seeing the birds. Gabe asks about Christine, what she's doing for the holidays, and suggests that if she travels, that they travel with Christine. They eventually agree to follow the guidelines for the holiday. Oh, before I forget, if I leave anything out that you want to talk about, feel free to put it down below because there was a lot of talking in this episode and I was like, okay, I shouldn't be taking this long to take notes on this episode, especially because it's a lot of the same stuff, but I know I've missed some things. So Janelle drops off a belated birthday present to Robin. She says, I have a birthday present for you. I don't know if you want to spray it down or whatever, making reference to these rules that you have that I've been told you've been following for all these months. What do you know? Robin doesn't spray it. As I said, it's interesting. We're told that she does all these things, yet Janelle brings a package and you don't do anything to it. You can't wait to dive in. She opens it up and she sees it's a towel warmer. She's like, oh, you always, get me things that, make me do self-care and da-da-da-da. And Kody's talking about how, a lot of times with wives, they give each other like trinkets and nutcrackers and all those things. You're talking about Robin probably and Mary because they're really into that stuff. I don't think all the wives do that. I think some wives are actually thoughtful and some wives actually like more than trinkets. Just saying. Immediately, even though she's supposed to let that thing sit out there for 24 hours and wipe it down, she pulls the gift that's still in the shipping box because Janelle tells her she doesn't wrap and gifts and all that stuff. She immediately pulls that thing inside her house. See what I'm saying here? Then asks Janelle if she'd like to stay so they can sit and talk. It's clear to me that prior to this, Janelle has not been at this house very often because she's talking about how much trees it is and how this looks and how that looks. Robin sits down and she says, I'm stressed and worried about you and Kody. I said to Kody, I'm wondering, how are you guys doing this and how are they okay with this? The statement is not Robin being concerned, in my opinion. The statement is Robin planting a seed that Kody should not be okay with the fact that the wives aren't seeing him. You then see her in confessional, I'm trying, it's like I just don't know, it just makes me worry. Then in front of her, she says, in the past, he said you guys did times apart. So in confessional, it's, I just don't know, it just makes me worry. But in front of her, in the past, Like, let me seem cheery. Like, this isn't bothering me. Like, I'm not talking mess behind your back. So in the past, Kody said that, you guys, had times apart, but never a separation like this. But you want us to think that Kody isn't sitting around talking crap about his wives. You're telling on yourself, Bird, by asking these questions, because these aren't things that you should be talking about with Kody when each relationship is separate, right? Janelle says, yeah, it's like 8 months. He wanted to move to Utah for better job opportunities. I was working in Wyoming. I had a career. We had houses. They moved. We needed my steady income. In other words, Janelle was the breadwinner, and she didn't want to move because she knew that moving would put a strain on their finances, because she's the only one at that point that wasn't allowing Kody to convince her, like, I'm saying jump, let's go. She tells us that a big part of her and Kody's relationship is communication. It is talking, but there is more than their relationship to just that. She says she gets it. A lot of people feel like they're not doing anything else, but she does have 6 children. In other words, just because it may look like I'm not this and I'm not that doesn't mean we don't do what we do. And I hear you, Janelle. I think Janelle is a little frisky. There's a lot of layers to Janelle that I wish we saw more of. I think we're going to get to see it more in season 19, but I wish we saw more of them, because we didn't get to see her getting ready for these concerts and these rock stuff and wearing her leather black leggings and all these things. These are things that I would love to have seen, but I think Janelle got a little side to her. Like, it's like, I don't got to tell everybody what I do. Yeah, I may not be affectionate out here, but you don't know what goes on in the bedroom between me and my man. I feel you, Janelle. Janelle says she's grateful for polygamy. She wouldn't have the independence that she has now had it not been for that. I don't believe that to be true. I think that polygamy helped Janelle in raising her kids. I think that once her kids were raised, I don't think Janelle needed polygamy anymore. She said that independence has made it difficult for her now to accept, some of the rules and the things that Kody's telling them. The Bird's like, yeah, that's one of the great things about, our family is that you can choose. Meanwhile, behind their back, she's saying otherwise. She doesn't like it. Robin tells Janelle, I just want everybody to get along so that we can go back to living polygamy, the life that they signed up for, the life that I signed up for, and so that she could get some space. Because at this point, she's tired of Kody. She's used to Kody coming over 2 times a week, and now she sees him a lot more. I don't know if she's necessarily tired of him. You all tell me what you think. Because part of me feels like she's tired of him being there because at this stage he's doing more complaining. But I think that Robin likes seeing him a lot. I don't know. Tell me what you think. We find out that she's tired of having him around so much. She's telling Janelle that she was already monogamous and she didn't want to be a monogamous again. That she had all these monogamous men that she could have married because she had proposals before Kody. She could have had a very happy, successful relationship with some other men, and it's just the truth. According to the book, one man other than Kody, and it doesn't count. In the book, it didn't seem like you had all these options, Bird, because the man that you were talking about was even older than Kody. And a lot of men, including Kody himself, did not want a divorced woman with 3 kids that were a part of that faith. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying what Kody said in the book. Because at first, supposedly, when Mary suggested her, he didn't want her because she had 3 kids and an ex. But she wanted polygamy. Janelle likes not having Kody around as much. She even talks about how at some period when Hunter was there, that he spent 5 days there and she was ready for him to go. I think that when Kody is in the house, he probably expects a certain level of attention to be placed on him, and he seems needy, in my opinion, because why else would you be so eager for him to go? She says, I just like being able to get to bed with my book. Robin tells us that, having the family falling apart the way that it is been rough. And it's been damaging. You saw this prior to the pandemic. So why is it so damaging now? You were only seeing them a month here and there when you guys moved to Flagstaff. So this makes no sense. So it's November 2020. We are at Mary's house. The adults meet to discuss their plans for Thanksgiving. Janelle reminds us, excuse me, that her position hasn't changed. That Kody's rules were just given to them, despite her asking for them 9 months prior when the first started. But now they have it. Janelle starts the conversation by saying her kids are planning to do whatever Christine is doing. This, of course, annoys Kody to his core. You can almost see it in his face. He's seething. He says, the kids want to be over there with Christine because Christine isn't heavy on the rules. I think Kody struggles a lot with being honest about Christine's role in the family. There's a reason why later on when Christine said that she was leaving, why Kody was so worried about this destroying the family. It didn't have anything to do with him losing her. It had to do with Christine's significance in the family. Because whether he admits it or not, he knows Christine is the nucleus. Christine is joy, and she is laughter, and she is fun, and she is light, and she's the cook, and she's all these things that some of the other wives aren't. It's definitely not that bird. Janelle reminds us that her kids love Christine because Christine was the one who raised them while she was out and she was working. Christine says, look, I spoke to all my other kids, to my older children. I gave them the rules and they said they can't do it. So they've decided that they won't be coming. They're going to be doing Thanksgiving at Aspen's house in Utah. And I know I'm making a conscious decision to separate the family for the holiday, but I'm going to join them with the girls. The girls want to go too. Kody then points to Christine and says, you're going to Utah? Looks at Janelle. And you're going to Utah? And Janelle's like, yeah. And we hear, wow. I thought it was Robin who said the wow. But the captions on the TV say that it was Mary. So either way, one of them said, wow. And I'm confused as to why, number one, you're saying wow, and two, you're surprised. Kody is now in the confession and he's pissed. He doesn't say it, but how dare these ladies want to spend time with their kids in an environment where it's light and airy and joyful? How dare they? He can't believe that Janelle and Christine are choosing to be around their children rather than him. I mean, like, is this even a question? He says they have all been the ones saying that they want to get back together. But Christine has made it clear to me now that she'd rather be with Aspen and Mitch and Tony and McKelty. Oh my goodness. Perish the shock. Perish the thought. I said perish the shock. Okay. Perish the thought. How dare. How dare. Where's my bottle? How dare. How dare Christine want to be around someone who likes her? Like, let's make sense of this here. Like, are we, we don't get it. He adds, Janelle is indicating by her actions that she would rather have the boys around than me. His ego can't take it, you guys. His ego cannot take it. His feathers are dropping out as we speak. He's losing more of his, what does somebody call him? Goldilocks. A poodle. He shed it. It's like he is fuming. Robin can't believe that this is going to be her first Thanksgiving without everybody. She is unhappy. So sad for you, Robin. Not. We're not sorry for you. We don't care about you. Mary's like, because she's being left out of the equation and nobody's asked her anything yet. You know, I'm not everybody, but I like to think that I am. Robin wasn't even concerned about Mary in that moment, nor was Kody. Neither of them cared whether or not Mary was coming, but now because, you know, the others say they aren't, Mary's basically having to volunteer the info. Robin then says, Mary, you know, I would love to have you, you know, over my house for Thanksgiving. Mary says, I'd love to come, Robin. I'd love to kiss your butt some more in hopes that, you know, Kody wants me. I'd love to try even more. Yes, I miss the kids, but I miss Kody too. Mary tells us it's frustrating because everybody is asking when they can get together. Now they're finding out how they can get together, and now they don't want to. She's like, what am I been isolating for all these months? Mary, I don't know. But she's still going to do it because she's looking for her in. Kody says, I appreciate where everybody's at. Robin does what she does best in this very moment by telling Kody what he's supposed to say, by making a suggestion, by altering his words. She says, you appreciate it? In my opinion, Robin does this thing where she says certain things or she rephrases a question to alert Kody to how he's supposed to feel or what he's supposed to say, letting him know that his statement makes it sound like he approves, and she doesn't approve, and she doesn't want him to make it sound like she approves. She says, no, you mean you respect it. Appreciate, I don't like the word appreciate. Can I just why is she telling him what he's supposed to say? Why is she correcting what's coming out of his mouth? But we're supposed to believe that Kody doesn't let anybody rule him. And here she is ruling him. Kody then leans back in his chair because he knows he has to follow his wife's lead. He tells us, you know, we all work with people, and this issue of COVID is, you know, an economic issue for our family and the families we do business with. You know, this is a situation where Christine has an employee and Garrison encounters many workers, and this could destroy the people that we come in contact with. It could destroy their livelihood. You weren't concerned about that when you had that nanny coming in there to tutor kids when Robin could have done it herself. He says the boys don't get why they are doing what they are doing. He's not a foot soldier. He's the general. I said, oh, if you say it, if that doesn't mean it's true. He says, you know, his struggles in the family are probably because, you know, he sucks at being a general. And he does. Janelle and Christine says he's not trying to guilt trip us, so he says, but he is. He says, I'm not telling you guys how to live your lives anymore. You guys are independent women. You can do whatever you want. He then proceeds to tell them exactly how they should live their lives, telling them that he's not going to give them a guilt trip, but rather to prick their conscience. Christine says, if Kody asks her to pick between the kids and him, her kids will win every time. And I loved this version of Christine because this version of Christine was her getting ready to leave. Janelle tells Kody that She doesn't feel like spending time alone, that she'll be all alone, that she does everything that she can to prevent getting the virus, but she cannot follow his rules. He says, after he gives his whole tirade, statement, I hope everybody enjoys their Thanksgiving. His smile is creepy, and there's something condescending about the way he said it. Janelle gets up, says she's leaving, says the whole thing about being alone, and Christine, as she's getting up, says, I have a clear conscience in the choice that I made. In other words, you're not going to guilt me into being sad because I've decided to be around my kids. Kody says, I told you this so you could tell your children so they can understand the perspective, because I keep hearing, about how dad is doing this and how dad is doing that and how dad's rules are taking a toll on the family. Why are the wives always expected to relay information to the kids? Kody, you have a phone. Pick it up. Call your kids. Text your kids. Video conference your kids. Tell them yourself. So you don't come back and then later say, that's not what I said. Your mother's misspoken. She's changing my words when that is indeed what you said. He tells Christine, you can continue in the vein of your little world, but what I want you to understand is I have a bigger thing to consider. And that bigger thing doesn't include Christine. Janelle is pissed at what he's saying. Janelle's like, look, this sounds like you're guilt tripping me for the choices that I'm making. There is no way that Garrison will be out of the house in time for me to be with you guys for Thanksgiving. You think I'm not being careful? I said, ooh. He continues with that whole, I want you to respect the big picture, Janelle. As he's talking to her, I said, Kody is talking to her like she is a child, and Janelle is done. Janelle turns around and says, F off, and walks off. Yes, Janelle. Yes, Janelle. Go, Janelle, go. Yes. Yes. I got to be honest. The first time I ever saw that clip with Janelle telling him to F off, it was so satisfying to me because I wanted her to say it, because I want all of them to say it. I want them to say F off and go wherever it is that they need to go, because Kody needs those women more than they need him. You're sitting here talking to them like they're kids, like you're above them, like you're better than them, when you're not. Even if I don't agree with everything that's being done, don't talk to her like she's your child and like she's not your partner. She's your partner. She's supposed to be your equal. Why are you treating her like she's less than just because she isn't being as demanding when it comes to this situation as the bird is? You're acting like they don't get it when they do. They get it. After she walks off, because none of the other wives say anything, which is one of the things I hate about these women, is that they all are real quiet when these arguments happen. But Christine is not. He wants to know if he's being a bully because he doesn't get why Janelle left. How do you not get it? Especially because you walk off every chance you get. Anytime anybody confronts you with anything, you're gone. Kody's like, I don't get it. Am I being a bully? Christine says, her hands are tied, Kody. She is living in a home where her hands are tied. She has them on one end and you on another end. She is getting crap from both sides every day. And whether you see it or not, your speech was forceful. She probably has to deal with that same thing from the kids all day long. She says, it's irresponsible for Kody to ignore half of his family. Kody isn't concerned about seeing or parenting his kids. He's only concerned, his words, is keeping them alive. He's tired of being blamed. And Robin looks pissed. Mary just wants to make sure she looks like she's on his side. Kody then brings up what happened with Truly in confessional, saying that Christine hates him for Truly almost dying back in 2014. I don't understand what this has to do anything. I don't understand why he brought this up. I don't understand why TLC didn't show her response to this. He adds, if someone in this family dies, there's going to be a bunch of other people I hate because of it. That statement does not age well, in my opinion. But I do not think he was talking about if something happens to one of the boys. I think he was talking about if something happened to one of the kids in the feathered household. Kody reminds Christine she is running to play with people who are breaking the rules. He says people like these aren't his kids. They're your family. And they're probably taking precautions. You're saying all this crap, but you got a filming crew around you. So why is the filming crew allowed to be around you and the nanny allowed to be around you, but Christine isn't allowed to be around her kids? It makes no sense. He talks about being jealous of the rule breakers. Mary says she wouldn't mind being around some people too. Mary wants to know why, if she's following all these demands, that he isn't spending time with her, and it's because he don't like you. Biggest takeaway I got from this whole situation is that Kody doesn't care. I think that Kody is using the pandemic as an excuse for his behavior. I think that a lot of them could have made various compromises to get together the way that they did for Christmas. I think that it's really telling the way that Robin says things and suggests things, and he doesn't see that she's the one who's in control. But you all tell me what you think. Sorry this episode was all over the place with my review. The next one will be much shorter, hopefully. Didn't mean to be this long. Tell me your opinions down below. Like the video if you have not done so already. It helps the channel. We are on the road to 2,000. I see it on the horizon. Thank you all so much for those of you who have joined, for those of you who have been there, for those of you who share the videos. I actually put up a statement. Well, let me see. You guys are gonna see this. I'll just say I put it up yesterday, but today, while I'm filming this, is Saturday, and you all will see this on Wednesday. So I put up a statement basically thanking you guys because I was doing a little bit of reflecting. Oh Lord, here it goes. I feel myself getting a little teary-eyed. I was doing a little bit of reflecting because in the last week I've gained 100 followers, and I got a message from YouTube. I should have put it in the thing. I wasn't even planning on talking about it. But I got a message from YouTube in my emails congratulating me. They're like, congratulations on this day. No, it's been 1,111 days since you've uploaded your first video, right? And I was like, 1,111 days. Okay, that's like the 3-year mark. And then I paused and I was like, oh my goodness, I've been on YouTube for 3 years. And then I thought about the fact that I had did a couple of videos in the beginning and I stopped. Because despite like some of the suggestions that were made, and even now, I don't make it to a lot of algorithms, and that's fine. I'm okay with slow and steady winning the race, right? But oh, for those of you who want to go, you don't have to hear this because I'm rambling. Sorry. But I just wanted to say this. I was at this point where I was like, I'm not doing it anymore because there's no way I'm going to get to 1,000 subscribers. Like, there's no way. People aren't looking for me. I know sometimes I come across as rigid. I don't really like being in front of the camera. I'm going to have to like come out of my shell. Like, just telling myself all these different things and saying, okay, I'm not doing it anymore. It's not doing what I think it's going to do. I didn't expect to jump to 1,000 subscribers overnight or have the amount of viewership overnight. You see what I'm saying here? So I cut back and I stopped. And literally a little over a year ago, my son was like, "Ma, why don't you go back on YouTube? You're always watching it. You're always making comments when you're watching people's videos. You're doing this, you're doing that. I think you should go back on it." And I was reluctant because I was like, do I want to put that much time into it? Because it does take time. Like, I have a regular job that pays me this. Not to say it like that, it's not really what I thought it was going to be, because I haven't, oh, this shouldn't be in this section. Sorry, y'all. I haven't gained the following enough where it would be lucrative. Now, if I'm being honest, without giving out all my business, the money that I make for YouTube pays a cell phone bill. Literally. Like, I'm not, it just is what it is. And I'm not complaining because I'm grateful. That's one less bill that I have to pay for. But it's not what I thought it would be. There's a lot more that goes into it than people realize that goes into it. Like, I'm a planner, so I have to plan out, okay, on Saturday morning between this time and this time, I'm going to do this, and then I could do this. I've just always been that way. I'm very organized. When it comes to stuff like this, I even write it down like, okay, you need to watch this show on this day. Make sure you have the note. It's just how I am. So in seeing how much this community that we've built over here has supported me, and how you all pour into me, and the comments and the nice things that you have to say, and how you all make me laugh, and sometimes I make you laugh, I want to really say that I appreciate it. I'm glad my son was like, "Mom, get back up there," because this has been a joy to me. And I just really want to thank you guys, because there are times where we prevent ourselves from doing things and we don't realize what this could bring to us. So it may not be bringing what I expected monetarily, but I do feel like this has created an area where I've developed genuine love for the people who watch me, for the people who are in the comment sections, for when I'm in someone else's live and they see me in the chat, they say, hey, that they recognize me. It means a lot. Okay. And I just want to say thank you. Sorry for rambling. I do that sometimes. This is what happens when you don't listen to your notes. But thank you, thank you, thank you, because I am now at 1,530. Woohoo! I'm excited about it because, as I said, I want to go nowhere but up. I won't be going anywhere as long as you guys don't go anywhere. Feel free to look at the channel. I have other things in Sister Wives comment. It's a little content. It's a little bit of everything here. I will, when the Sister Wives stuff is over, be looking into doing something else. I have some things already planned out. I just gotta figure out how it's gonna go schedule-wise. But thank you for sticking with me. As long as you stick with me, I'll stick with you. Sorry again for rambling. Until next time.